Hello, we're back to playing the Doomcore Trilogy, and now we're on the last map of Reverie. It is MAP30, which is called Final Doom. So of course I deliberately called this one Final Doom. It just kind of seemed like, well, besides there actually being a Final Doom, I just kind of like the idea of there being a map that actually has it for a title. And it's just got this nice serene setting. Nice planks on the water raising up. I do like that idea, and it kind of goes up and down like a bridge. And of course this map idea, at least part of it, for the starting area being inspired from Caribbean once again. I think the love for the Final Doom maps clearly comes through in some areas. Just some basic combat starting out. I do like this though, with the chain gunner on the computer. Just nice cozy hangout, I guess. Computer map, once again you could see we've got a bit of a level ahead of us. Not just an icon of sin fight. At least not yet. Got those guys, but that's not it for this trap. It's gonna be... oh yeah. Archvile. Come on. Oh shoot. Couldn't get there in time. This is kind of fun to do though, even if it's a little straightforward. And of course it didn't work out again. So I don't need any of these supplies just yet. Could get some of these though. Just pick up a few things here and there. And of course there's this cave area I need to explore first. Yeah, I just like the idea of maps that have really nice settings. I think it's part of why I wasn't too fond of the kind of hell map settings. This also has some deep liquid, of course. I think here it's much more acceptable since there's not really any enemies to fight out here, so it doesn't really mess things up this time. But yeah, I just kind of always found it a little bit hard to make maps that were themed around hell in some way for that reason, because I just always think of the whole red brick or red rock themes and just not having too many ideas for it. And then just wanting to make areas that seemed really nice. Like the kind of place you would want to imagine yourself in. It's a cave with a waterfall. Looks pretty nice. It's going to be really risky going out there, so... oh, somebody wandered in. I'm actually going to save right here. Try rushing out. Oh my, that didn't work out too well. Maybe I'll fight with them now. Well, they will, at least. Maybe I'll deal with these guys too. Oh my, really bad decision on my part. Okay, gotta go back to this. Finally had enough of them. Oh, come on. Oh, wonderful. Oh, that's right, you need to go here to actually open the door, I think. You can't just directly interact with it. Oh, shoot. That was really darn close. I don't remember if there's any health around here. No. Hm. Guess not. That was really cruel then to the player. Yes, nothing here. Just gotta take it all in, the whole experience. And, well, I guess there is some stuff in here. I guess that was the reason. Almost thought there was maybe a little bit somewhere else first. I guess I'm, for some reason, remembering a Berserk pack, but I might be thinking of a different area. Whatever. Just grab it. And I do like this little detail, by the way. I don't think I showed it off in the starting room. This little computer with the printer and the paper. Just funny little detail. So finally we get to enter the main building here. And of course we got simple chap here with the revenants. And the funny faces behind them. Let's just get rid of these guys so they're not sniping me. It's a nice little throne area. And you have to sit on the throne to open up this door. And that lowers a lift just across from here. Now there's this next little gauntlet of areas. I think it gets pretty risky just dropping down randomly to these enemies. And you just slowly unlock each of these little areas here. Let's just do this. Yeah, I do have fun with these kind of structures. Looking over. And this was another very early map idea, of course. Pretty much very closely associated with MAP28. Gets pretty deadly down here, obviously. Random damage. Yep, that's cool. Now you get to fight the Archvile that's been teased at for a little bit. Just keep him right there. Really love this music, by the way. It's a Stuart Wren music track. Just a nice, calm send-off for this Megalod. That's pretty much what I wanted. So it actually had the TNT 31 music going on originally. So I wanted something that was like that for the last level. Lots of enemies in this dark area. I also really like the idea of things like the Archvile behind the cage you can see, but you can't attack him. And then you have this area with the chain gunners all lined up that you can't attack, but you can see them. And they're just kind of waiting for you. No, I shouldn't use that just yet. Just really want to be rid of that Arachnotron. And the pain elemental, of course. Keep getting a little bit tongue-twisted. Okay. Yeah. Maybe try finish off. Oh. Just a couple of dudes in the dark. It's probably going to be chain gunners over here. Oh, really bad. Come on. Well, there goes my soul sphere. I don't have too many shells left once again. Plenty of rockets, though. Could stand to use them. Got a short little outdoor area going on over here. Whoops. Yeah, a lot of simple enemies just kind of wandering about. Not too much going on here otherwise. I think I need to flip the switch for either the staircase leading to the yellow key or it lowers the platform it's sitting on. There's a couple of things I need to do just to make it available. So it's that little section, and I guess that built up the staircase. So now this one is for lowering the actual platform. Falling here does have a little bit of a setback, even though you do have the teleport there. It actually takes you all the way back to the start, so kind of sets you back a little ways. Of course, we have another archvile waiting. Gotta be really careful here. Tried jumping here. See if I could get some extra shells or whatever else. And there's only one secret, I guess. I guess we'll find out if I remember where it even is. So now this area. Just gonna have to run for it. Hope they fight each other, of course. And just kind of tease them by running in a circle, so they'll eventually hit each other. Yeah, so it's kind of fun setup with having all of these enemies triggered by the player grabbing the yellow key. I do like the ideas that went into this map. Nope. Okay, so this next area can be pretty dangerous. I think maybe I'll save it again. Oops. Lost my place on the keyboard. Just sitting in a dark room doing all this. Oh, nope. Come on. There we go. Should be a couple of Ragnatrons. Not too bad. But now it's going to be the other two big monsters. I do really like this area with the large halls, big hallways. Yeah, all this going on. Let's really hope I can get these fighting each other. If not, I'll just have to... Well, looks like a... Oh, there I go. Yeah, well... Thankfully I'm not too far. Timing. I am wondering about that last secret. Actually, what I could do is maybe run past everything and just go outside. Though I guess it does make returning a little bit risky. Oh my. Okay, well that was a bad idea. Didn't expect they would actually follow me though. Come on, sit still. Oh. Just keep him right there. Well, figure it out sometime. I kinda feel like this area, like with the large halls and the windows up there, tiny bit sort of remind me of like this album artwork that I saw. Again, it's another random nerd fact, but tiny bit reminds me of an album that my dad has called Rolled Bones from Rush. And I think the back of the cover like had this window open with these bones flying through. And I remember looking at it as a kid and thinking that like the way it looks with the tiles and everything, it almost looks like a bathroom or something like that. And then there's this window or something. It just kind of reminded me of that a little bit, and the idea of just kind of big, large area like this with the window. It just kind of reminded me of that for some reason. I mean, actually at the time of making this map, it reminded me. So, kind of an odd point to bring up, but it's just yet another thing that comes to mind whenever I play this. So, I guess it's worth bringing up for that reason. Okay, he's got to take a seat sometime. Not too much, come on. Oh, good. Got the other one on my side. Yeah, everybody go all out. There we go. They're guarding bullets. Oy. Yeah, so once again, this area can be a little bit tricky with the chain gunners. I guess this door stays open. I guess that's why the cybers wandered out. I'm sorry if this is boring to watch, just trying to play it safe. Really need to get that other pain elemental. I don't know why I have such trouble saying that. It's like I'm trying to say it 5 times fast or something. Can't even say it once. Oh shoot. Gosh. And it's totally possible to get telefragged right there, by the way. I'm pretty darn sure that's happened to me at least once or twice playing this map. Yeah. That's really cruel. I don't actually... Well, I mean, it wasn't something that I intended. It's just something that happens. It's... Yeah, it's like... I don't think I would call it a happy accident, but... Yeah, anyway. And yes, this is an invisible bridge, as marked out by the torches. You actually do want to drop down here, too, because there's some cell packs down here. So it's a bit of an odd idea, but this area that you end up on, I don't know, just gonna check for some supplies a little bit. Alright, so I think we've gotten far enough. Oh shoot. Oh, I should have done this earlier. just in case the player just wanted to skip all the chain gunners and everything. I just had to put that annoying post there. Thankfully there is a megasphere on the other side. But yeah, so the idea is that you wander off from this area and you go through here and you teleport, but then you turn around and it's the same area basically. But this time when you come out, you don't see like those nests there where the chain gunners are and the open door, but you'll actually turn around and come back and see an icon of Sin sitting there waiting. So I'll actually save it right here because things can get tricky. So there's the megasphere. Oh, that's the one secret too, by the way. So do want to take care of these guys. Shouldn't be using rockets right now. Okay, let's see. There we go. So the icon this time, the way it's set up, it's not the random lift where you have to time your shots just right. Instead, I went for being at just the right height, but you have to shoot multiple rockets because the icon is far enough from the wall. This is only for the harder difficulties, by the way. I think I made it so that the icon is a little further from the wall on a harder difficulty. So he takes more shots to actually take him out. So yeah, he'll be firing for a little while. That was timed nicely. Just want to make sure you're not distracted by any flying enemies when you're up here. There we go. That's it. That's Reverie. Cool. Even though we didn't get all the kills, I didn't really expect to though. Being a MAP30, I think, like, probably some of the enemies in the last area, I tend to ignore them, but anyway. So yeah, that's all of the levels, all 32 levels of Reverie, and yeah, I had fun with this. So, yeah, not gonna read that, but good old credit sequence with the enemies is always fun to look at. I ripped that graphic of Doom Guy just sitting down with his helmet from Skull Tag. I think there was an intermission screen where it would show that if you lost a match or something. And it's a very crude image too because of that. It's just kind of cheap the way I cut out a picture of a car and set it there in the background. I kind of hoped for something a little better for an end graphic, but that's pretty much it. So yeah, I had a lot of fun playing this, and well, I guess I could reflect on the project itself, of course. It just kind of went the way it did with... Oh, thought it was going to actually freeze up, but guess I could have it sit here just for a bit, just so I don't have the constant firing of the zombiemen or something. But anyway, so I was remembering it just kind of started out with the idea of making the last 3 levels, just kind of leaving it at that and just imagining it as being something as a potential megawad, or just a 3-level wad by itself and no megawad at all. So I don't remember which map I made first, even though MAP29 was the earliest idea I had. It's possible I didn't actually make it right away. I might have. I don't actually remember the first map I made. It might just have been one of the early maps, besides being the first idea for Reverie. But yeah, I did entertain the idea of just making a 3-level WAD with the last 3 levels. And at some point I just kind of entertained the idea of making more maps for it, which led to me making the early maps. Not the actual first 3 levels, but they're the levels that would end up being used as filler for Doomcore. It was the original release map 25, 26, and 27. Those were the original first 3 maps of Reverie, but I really didn't like the direction it was going in. I just did not find the maps that interesting or engaging, at least for me. I just felt like it wasn't the right way to start off a Megawad project that way. So I wasn't fully convinced by it, so I decided to take them out and replace them much later down the road. But I ended up making other maps first, I think like MAP19, for example, which was Dusktown, excuse me. And I can't remember too much on like some of the other early maps, but either way, it was just kind of slowly becoming more of a thing with time, because of course I was still working on Doomcore at the time, so I wasn't about to quit working on a Megawad to start another Megawad. But that is pretty much what ended up happening, funny enough. I was kind of balancing between working on Doomcore and Reverie, so I'm pretty sure that would have led to some very interesting reactions if I had posted about any of this on Doomworld, or anywhere else for that matter, really, because I know it's the typical newbie thing to do, is to start off with mapping and to think, hey, I'm going to make a 32 level Megawad. And it's like I got some 27 or so maps into Doomcore, and then started the idea for Reverie. And then that just started getting more ideas, like I kind of want to make a level over here and over there, whether it's episode 2 or 3 or 1, whatever. And then it just slowly over time, I just felt I was more interested in what Reverie was becoming, because it felt much more refined and focused. And that was the trouble I had with Doomcore, of course. And I know I've mentioned it before, but it felt like there was just a lot of mixture of things, because I kept getting better at making Doom maps looking more detailed and interesting, so that led to me constantly filtering out older maps and replacing them with better ones. So I actually ended up having about like 40 maps that were for Doomcore. That's like including all the rejected maps. So yeah, it got really crazy with that, and even then, in the end, I still ended up putting in some filler maps. It was just the maps that I took out of Reverie. And so it just kind of became a whole thing where I felt like Reverie was the more interesting Megawad that was a work in progress for me. And I just felt like I had too many ideas for it, that when I did try to write down community guidelines and ideas, if I did end up pitching it for a community project, I was trying to think of like what kind of rules would the other level designers have to follow if they want to make a map for Reverie. And so I kept writing down all these different things of what they can and can't do. But over time I felt like it was just way too strict, and I didn't want people to feel like they were, walking on pins and needles if they were going to be a part of something that was going to be like really strict on the things it can and can't do, because I didn't want to have maps that were pushing the limits too hard on vanilla, and maps that were too big that they would break the save game buffer, because I tried to stay faithful to vanilla Doom 2 and not going over any limits. Even though I did in the end go over some limits, of course, with Doomcore and Reverie. They did have at least a number of maps that were save game buffer overrun, and just some other little things here and there. Mostly just probably in Doomcore I think had some Hall of Mirrors and some of the bigger maps possibly. But for the most part I think they did hold up pretty well in, something like Chocolate Doom I tested in. And so Reverie just became this huge thing where I just realized over time, I think I really do have another Megawad I'm working on here, and even though I'm not finished with Doomcore, I actually want to carry on with what I have going for Reverie. So I just stayed committed to it, and I stayed quiet, as I should have, because I didn't want anyone to talk me out of making these Megawads, since I was still early on with Doom. So it's pretty crazy looking back on these times, and just thinking how very obsessed I was with Doom mapping. Anytime I had free time and could do so, I was working on maps if I wasn't playing maps, and I stayed up late quite often working on maps, which led to me, just thinking about it all the time led to me having like dreams at night about Doom maps, which just led to more ideas for more maps and things going on. So it just kept going on, and I just kept writing down all these ideas. And yeah, it was just a very fun, inspired time working on Reverie. And I thank all of the musicians involved, John Weekly, James Paddock, and Stuart Rinn, and all the playtesters. There's quite a few playtesters. I remember Joshi was one of the early playtesters for Reverie, and he gave lots of helpful feedback. And I do remember also there were some parts, I think, of Reverie that were not totally straightforward. They were a little bit more puzzling, and so I did have to make some parts of it a little more clear and easy to understand. And I do remember feeling a little bit discouraged early on also about like some of the structuring for it, because I kind of liked the puzzling elements, but felt like I had to change it up a little bit just to make it a little more accessible. And in the end, I'm honestly really glad that I did that. And even then, I still kind of look back on some parts of this and feel like I wish I had made it a little less cryptic in some areas. Things like the color-coded puzzle on map 8 and other things like it, I would probably make it a little easier to understand. And, well, there's just lots of little things here and there, but for the most part, I still think Reverie holds up pretty well. And I do kind of wish that the map lines weren't hidden for the secrets. That is one of the things the Trilogy version does fix up, so yeah. And well, it was quite a journey too, because it was one of the other early projects that I revealed on Doomworld for people to actually playtest and give feedback to, and that was very much a learning process for me early on. It was kind of hard when things weren't totally smooth, and there were maps that people probably didn't like too much, and things that just were, well, it's just the usual thing you would expect early on when putting out a project. And Doomcore was also something that I sort of put out, but I didn't exactly give it the big treatment like I did with Reverie, because I more just kind of asked the community, hey, I have these 27 maps sitting around. I don't know if I should release them if I feel a little bit mixed about it or something along those lines. And I didn't even really post any screenshots in my first post either for it, so I don't think it gathered a lot of attention. And actually, Doomcore didn't even have too many playtesters. I think Snakes was one of the playtesters, and maybe someone else. I think it was actually GGG Mork who actually recorded some demos for it early on. And so yeah, I do feel like Doomcore didn't have too much attention early on, but Reverie did, because I did give it the kind of red carpet treatment of a bunch of screenshots and information and a video demonstration, so that definitely gathered a lot of interest from people, and it definitely helped me in my process of refining my own mapping with everybody's feedback and just kind of learning, just because somebody doesn't like something in your map, it doesn't mean you have to change it. There are certain things that, yeah, you can fix up if somebody has a good idea for, and other things that I learned that just kind of come down to taste. If something looks, for example, really bare or ugly to someone, and I'm sure a lot of my early maps look that way, there are just certain areas that just, to my eyes, look pleasing in a sort of old, cutesy 90s patchwad sort of way. So it was just kind of going along that thought process at times. And it was just a really interesting journey for me. So yeah. And I'm especially surprised that even though I released the project on November 15th, 2011, it actually went on to win an award during the CAC Awards for that year. So that was a pretty crazy early achievement as well. Well, not too much to say about it. I mean, it's pretty cool that people liked it enough that they felt it was worthy of such a scenario. But one of the other things that was kind of funny to me is that I actually did mean to release Reverie earlier on, like at least a week or two, I think, earlier than when it did. But I accidentally left my laptop behind when I went somewhere. I think I drove up north. It was like a 4-hour drive. And yeah, I had Reverie sitting on my laptop, and I forgot my laptop when I went up there for a couple of weeks, so it kind of delayed the release for a couple weeks. And then when I got back, I had uploaded it, and it appeared, I guess, on the archive on the 15th. So I think the 15th is actually the cutoff date also for the CAC Awards, when something is actually able to win or so. I think so. A little part of me almost wondered if, I don't know if it was always that way or if it kind of coincides around the time that Reverie was released. A little part of me wondered if it was around that time. But anyway, I don't really know any of that stuff. So I think I've rambled on enough about it, and that's about it, as much as I can think to bring up about reflecting on Reverie. There are probably other little things I could bring up, but I don't want this video to be too long, so I can always talk about it in another video, because I do have Eternally Yours to play. That'll be next in line, so anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this playthrough of Reverie, and I'll see you guys in the next part, which I'm looking forward to doing, which will be Eternally Yours, which this time is not a megawad, but just a short episode replacement for Doom 2. But it does have a bonus map, so it should be a little bit interesting with that as well. So I'll see you guys in the next part. Take care.